In exactly 46 days from today, the year 2025 will be coming to a close. What a powerful year. And for that matter, it's exactly the 15th day of November. The very first half of the 11th month of the year is come and gone. Tomorrow we'll be starting the second half. But for this morning at exactly 9:15, as I come your way on your radios, this is Z101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure and business radio. And the platform this morning as we have it is The Focus, your flagship platform where we discuss national developmental agenda, bringing issues of the individual, the family, the community, and of course the nation at large to your doorstep, and thinking through how best we can make things work for our dear nation, Ghana. Well, today this is Nana Safo Kantanka once again, and for the last time, sitting in for your regular host, Lawyer Kweku Atakora Jomo, who is now a very whole man. And when I say a whole man, I mean that this man is now full, and not only full because he is wedded. Good morning to you, Lawyer, this morning. And of course, I can't leave out Dr. Mrs. Atakora Jomo. I want to believe that you too are doing so well. Don't forget, in exactly 7 days, you'll be right back here and the vacation will be over. But for today, we are bringing, once again, developmental issues to the doorstep of the Ghanaian listener. What are we looking at? Last week, we did start looking at how we can build a progressive Ghana. Building a progressive nation. What to do? The French will say ce que on fait, and what not to do. Ce que on ne peut pas faire. What to do and what not to do on Z 101.9 FM. Today, we're going to give you two parts of our discussions. The very first one will be focusing on education. Someone told me quite recently that one of the most critical and fundamental things that every nation should get is its education. If you got education right, you definitely will be building on everything that is required. And that takes me to the gospel according to St. Matthew chapter number 6 and verse number 33. What does it say? I know you know, but if I came to you and ask you now, I know that it will be another issue altogether. But what does it say? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and indeed all the other things will be added unto you. And so this is what this philosopher said: build the educational foundation of your nation right, and all the others will come together. This is how we introduced this morning's discussions. But of course, just 2-3 days ago, the Honorable Minister for Finance, Honorable Dr. KCL Ato Forson, did present the budget statement for the year 2026. How has it been received? What are the major highlights? That is what we will be batching up the issue on discussions of what to do and what not to do in Ghana's education. And that is how today's focus is going to go. Don't forget that your servant, Nana Safo Kantanka, is the driving seat. You don't want to go away. Stick, and stay tuned to 101.9 FM. I'll be right back with news around.
FM.
the year. This is Akote Brofo by the great legendary George Dakon. Or Hinebahine, wherever you are, may your soul rest in perfect peace. It's exactly 23 minutes gone past the hour of 9 o'clock, and time for us to go on to news around the world. And today we're starting with news from Walmart. The headline, Walmart boss retiring after more than a decade. Doug McMillon, Walmart's longtime CEO, is set to retire on January 31, 2026 after more than a decade at the helm. During his leadership, he transformed Walmart into a more technology-driven company, heavily investing in e-commerce, modernizing its supply chain, raising worker wages, expanding benefits, and embracing AI. Succeeding him will be John Furner, currently CEO of Walmart US, who has been with the company since 1993 and has held a range of senior roles in both Sam's Club and Walmart US. McMillon isn't leaving entirely. He'll stay on the board until June and serve as an advisor to Furner through fiscal year 2027 to ensure a smooth transition. Analysts view Furner as a capable successor who aligns with Walmart's long-term strategy, especially as the company leans more into AI and innovation. Gaddafi's youngest son is released after 10 years in Lebanese detention. Hannibal Gaddafi, the youngest son of former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, has been released by Lebanese authorities after nearly 10 years in detention. He had been held over allegations related to the 1978 disappearance of Lebanese cleric Imam Musa al-Sadr, but was never tried. His release came after his bail was reduced to around $900,000 and the travel ban on him was lifted. Human rights groups had criticized his prolonged detention as arbitrary. South Sudan leader sacks powerful vice president in shock move. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has unexpectedly fired Vice President Benjamin Bol-mel along with other key allies in a surprising move that has raised concerns about political instability. Bol-mel, once considered a possible successor to Kiir, was also stripped of his military rank and top party positions. No official reason was given for the dismissal, though Bol-mel has faced past corruption allegations. The shakeup signals a major shift in South Sudan's fragile political landscape. And finally, COVID-19 levy is abolished. Ghana's government has announced the abolition of the COVID-19 Health Recovery Levy as part of its 2026 budget reforms. Finance Minister Kesiel Atoforsen said that scrapping the levy will return 3.7 billion Ghana cedis to individuals and businesses. This change is one piece of a broader overhaul of the VAT system. The government is also reducing the effective VAT rate from 21.9% to 20%, raising the VAT registration threshold from 200,000 Ghana cedis to 750,000 Ghana cedis, and removing VAT on certain mineral prospecting activities. The COVID-19 levy was originally introduced under Act 1068 of 2021 as a 1% charge on goods, services, and imports to help finance pandemic-related health spending. By abolishing it now, the government aims to ease the tax burden, stimulate business activity, and support economic recovery. This brings us to an end of news around the globe on Z 101.9 FM.
Z 101.9 FM.
All right, good people out there. It's exactly 34 minutes gone past the hour of 9 o'clock. It is the 15th day of November, 2025 in the year of our Lord. And this is Focus, your flagship show on Z101.9, where you've got lifestyle, leisure, and business covered. This morning, what are we looking at? It's a double-barreled gun. That's what we're faced with this morning. We're looking at the issue of how to build a progressive nation, what to do and what not to do. Today, we are focusing on education. And as I did indicate earlier, we have two gentlemen with me to do that discussion. Number one, we've got Dr. Paul Hezwa, I hope I got it right, who is a lecturer from the University of Media and Communications. And of course, with us to do supporting justice to the issue of education. And when we flip the coin and begin to look at the impact and consequential effects of the budget, that's where he'll come up as the number one contender. I am referring to Emmanuel Boateng, who is our in-house economic analyst. Emmanuel is seated right here with me in the studio. And of course, Doc is joining me on the line. May I say good morning to Doc first and foremost. Hi, Doc. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you too?
I am wonderful. It's a bright Saturday morning, and what a way to look at how to kickstart the day's focus. And this is Focus on Z101.9 FM. We are looking at the issue of education, what to do and what not to do. And usually, we would want to trace the historical account of the Republic of Ghana's educational system and then bring us to where we are currently and then begin to look at where we got it right and where we got it wrong. Not too sure what your historical count is. Doc, most welcome, and you can take it from here. What do you think has been Ghana's historical account of education?
Right. Thank you very much, and good morning to your listeners out there. Yes, when it comes to the history of education in Ghana, it dates all the way back to the colonial times, even further back to the times that the first Europeans entered the Gold Coast around the 1600 thereabouts. That is where we had the Europeans trying to present to us their model of education. And so once they had their own children with their natives, there was this mulatto children where they were given some form of Western education. Fast forward during the British era, when they properly colonized us, they also gave us their version of education at the time, the colonial education. And this type of education actually concentrated on rote learning, more or less, at the time. And so that is what has been there all along up till today. But fast forward, in the last few decades, there have been some changes in our curriculum, educational curriculum. And so we are now trying to kind of concentrate on a psychomotor aspect of our education, where we try to link up with skills. But as far as I'm concerned, it is not enough at all. And so government after government are trying to modernize our educational curriculum, where the emphasis is put on skills. The last government that left were trying to come up with STEM education, where the focus will be on technology and then science. And the current government is also trying to do something. But by and large, this has been the history of our education setup. It has been changing though.
Well, it has been changing, and I think that that's a powerful historical account there. But, Doc, before we move forward, I captured a few things that I'd like to just go over very quickly with you. You're talking about the mulatto children that were had in Ghana, and for that matter, the necessity for their children to be taken through some kind of education. Then came the colonial master, who also brought his own kind of education until when Ghana itself took over its own educational system. And you want to indicate that it's been awash with skills and currently looking at science and technology. What do you think were some of the highlights of the very first form of education, the mulatto ones that you referred to? What was it that went into that kind of education? And I want us to take it one after the other until where we are today.
Sorry, I missed it a little bit. Can you repeat that?
So I'm just trying to go over the various kinds of educational systems as you recounted. You said that first and foremost, we had the mulatto people making children with Ghanaians and the need for them, therefore, to take them through some kind of education. The colonial master, when he came, also attempted to do the same thing until when Ghana gained independence and even later on became a republic on its own and fashioned its own education. I want to look at what went into the mulatto education originally and then come to when the colonial master also came in. What informed the base for their education? Because we are trying to see where we are. What must have influenced us to where we are today? And if we need to look at tomorrow, what the critical things we need to do to be able to get to where we expect to be.
Right. So thank you very much. So with the mulatto education, when the Europeans actually had, they engaged the locals. I mean, the offsprings were the mulatto children were the kind of children that, if today we call them half caste, because the Europeans had affair with the Gold Coast ladies at the time, and then their offspring were what we call the mulatto children. So they were half Europeans, half Gold Coasters, let's put it that way. And so because the Europeans fathered them, they had to give them special education. In fact, let us note here that that kind of education they gave them was different from, in fact, they didn't even consider the locals or the indigens. It was just those special children, the mulatto children, that were given some sort of Western education at the time. But later on, as I said, the tentacles actually spread to cover some of the natives, the indigenes, a few of them. It was quite difficult, but a few of them had a chance of also gaining access to Western education.
So Doc,
yes.
Doc, I'm sorry. So I just like us to get the fundamentals. What were they educating these mulatto children on? I'd want to believe that must have impacted when the colonialists came, and then even when Ghana itself at independence and then later on to the Republican status began to frame and structure its own education, must have been guided to some extent by these. What went into the education of these mulatto children?
Right, thank you very much. Certainly, it was the European system of education that was translated or transported to the mulatto children. Because like I said, they saw them as their own children, and they needed to experience what the other children in Europe were also experiencing. So it was, first of all, training them to understand, first of all, the language. Of course, the British came and then